Welcome, friends, to this video during this Holy Week. I'm Jim Hollister, pastor of First Congregational Church in Sheboygan. We're entering a roller coaster of a week, but that's what the last few weeks have been like, so we're used to that, right? So last Sunday we celebrated Palm Sunday, Jesus' triumphal entry into Jerusalem. We call it triumphal, even though it may not have seemed that way at the time, because we know in the end God has the last word. And this coming week, we experience the events with Jesus and his disciples. And Thursday night at 7 o'clock, we'll share together in a celebration of his Last Supper, what we call the Sacrament of Holy Communion. That's at 7 o'clock, and it's called Maundy Thursday. It's an old word, Maundy, which has the same root as mandate or commandment. Because Jesus says, love one another as I have loved you. This I command you. And then Friday at 12 noon, also on Facebook or YouTube, we will have a Good Friday service, time of prayer and lament with some beautiful music. And we'll hear the scriptures about Jesus' crucifixion on a Roman cross. And then come back on Sunday at 10 a.m. for Easter services. But it's really important to go through this week before Easter. Thursday and Friday are important pieces, and without them you don't really experience Easter as it needs to be experienced. My old mentor Bill Coffin said, you can't get to Easter Sunday except through Good Friday. So please join us for these services this week. But I want to talk to you a little bit about Thursday night to help you get ready. We're going to have communion together, what we might call virtual communion. And some people say, how can you do that? You need to be present for communion, don't you? I say no. I think the pastors agree, no, we don't need to be present. Christ is still with us. We're the body of Christ, whether we're scattered or gathered. You might have seen on social media the Roman Catholic priest in Italy, in Lombardy, who couldn't have in-person worship with his congregation. So he asked them to send photos of their household and selfies to him, and he got them printed up, and he taped them in all of the pews, so when he stood up in the chancel, he could look out and see all of his congregation. Isn't that cool? I did hear, however, that somebody saw someone else's photo was in their pew and they complained about that. But our daughter Jessica is home for the semester from college, and she's been very involved in student government while away in college, and she assumed that now that she's home they wouldn't have any reason to get together. But no, that apparently was not correct. They're having a Zoom meeting tonight to make some decisions and to check in. And the reason is because they're still the student body, whether they're on campus or off campus. And it's really the same way with the church. Indeed, the church has always been a virtual body. The Apostle Paul longed to be with the congregations from whom he was absent in the body. And so what did Paul do? He wrote them letters. They were meant to be read out loud corporately, perhaps in worship or even as part of the worship service. And I realize it's not quite the same to hear a letter as opposed to being face-to-face with somebody. And yet, it's his letters that are preserved for all of us, and we do not have his face-to-face conversations. So this Thursday, we're going to celebrate Christ's real presence through these virtual means. And we invite you at home to gather together some elements, communion elements. It could be simple as a piece of bread, or pieces of bread for your family, and something to drink, juice or wine. Could be grape juice, apple juice, wine, even maybe sparkling water. This is orange and grapefruit. Pastor Julia made some gluten-free bread, which we're going to enjoy. Got some here. Thank you, Julia. We're going to share this on Thursday night in the sanctuary, but by the time we're watching it, we'll be home around this table sharing it with you. Some people are going to be drinking wine. Maybe some of you homeschooler parents who are teaching your kids, you've had a lot of this lately. Jesus shared wine and bread with his disciples. It was part of a Passover meal. It was ironically a meal where they celebrated God passing over them when plagues came through their community many years earlier. But Jesus takes the ritual of the food, bread, and cup and reinterprets it in light of his impending death. And so he says, "This is my body broken for you. Take and eat. This is my blood shed for you. Take and drink, all of it. It is for you, for the forgiveness of sins." And so Thursday night we're going to share together, and we invite you to gather these. These are gifts from the earth, and we also are mindful of those who provide them, those who grow the food and ship it, deliver it to help us to have sustenance. God acts through these sacraments to help strengthen our daily work and ministry in the world. And we look forward to being with you on Thursday night at 7. God bless you.